Welcome to episode 5 of Happy Hour Live. Did not mean to rhyme, it just happened. What also just happened is that I did this whole intro and recorded it, but realized that I was broadcasting to just myself. So this is take 2, slightly embarrassed. None of you knew that, didn't need to say anything, but I'm being vulnerable and telling you that I made a mistake. I am very excited about my guest today. Oh, before we start, anyone watching, please click like, share, love, laugh, comment. Please comment, ask questions. We will definitely get to your questions at some point during this interview. We'll answer everything we can. Participate. We love participation. Participation is key for this. It keeps it going. It livens the conversation. We really encourage it. Also, I can see who's viewing, but I don't know who you are unless you comment. So please comment and share. I am very excited about my guest today. We for the past 16 weeks have been taking a course together on auditioning put together by the wonderful Christopher Still of the Los Angeles Philharmonic. He is a tuba player. I want to say he is the most famous tuba player on YouTube with over 12,500 subscribers. He's a soloist, composer, arranger, father, husband, and has a golden voice that is the ESPN to my NPR. It is my pleasure to bring you Scott Sutherland. Scott.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I've got a little technical difficulties. It's like taking a minute to transfer over, so no one can see you. But hi, there we are. How's it going? Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. It's great to be here. I hope my sultry baritone voice is carrying through the waves out there.
Listening to your voice right now is making me miss sports. That's all I gotta say. NPR is alive and well, so exactly, yeah, it's perfect. My wife says nice hair. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. John Santo, thanks for watching.
Oh my gosh, John, how's it going, buddy?
He says, promise me you won't have any tuba players on. Oof, John.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry.
Missed it. John is a good friend, and my gosh, can that guy write his name in the prettiest of ways?
Yeah, John Santo, known for writing his name. No. Yeah, no, I really, John is amazing. He's been, every time I play down there, he's just so generous and kind and has great stories. You know, he's been around in San Diego scene for a while, and then he has this talent that you wouldn't know unless you follow him. He doesn't brag about it, he doesn't tell you about it, but like beautiful penmanship and art. He's very into collecting pens. John, you're awesome. We're just singing your praises here with you from down in San Diego. But Scott, again, thank you so much for being here. How is your week going?
It's been good. You know, I have actually I've been keeping really busy. I've been trying to, do as much as I can through I have a duet project that I did through my website. Mm-hmm. Where I encouraged people to submit one side of a duet, and I would pair it up with my own and throw it up on my Instagram. And I called it Tuba Rona Duets, and
awesome.
And that was it was a lot of fun. Video game music and film music and classical music, and I have a couple more waiting in the wings to throw out there, and that's been a lot of fun. I just released another multi-track YouTube video. This one being on the theme to The Mandalorian. That was fun. So
nice.
Been enjoying
nice.
enjoying this time. And keeping me busy keeps me a little bit out of the house. I love my children very dearly, but we need a little time in the garage, and then I need to venture back in, and then and have fun with them. Otherwise, we can tend to be at each other's throats, but we are so far so good. So
good, yeah. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So
right.
You get to the garage whenever you can.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Yeah, what are you drinking there? What do you got?
This is Booker's. This is kind of my celebratory drink. I was supposed to be auditioning for the LA Philharmonic tuba position today until it got postponed. And so I have this deal with myself that after I've gone through kind of a long process of preparation and hard work, I kind of reward myself with a little bookers. So, if
Nice.
I have a recital or a concerto performance or,
Yeah.
an audition, I always,
Yeah.
whatever happens, with the performance, I
Right.
take a little moment just to celebrate the fact that I went through all that hard work. So
It's good. That's
yeah.
healthy. And and given that we're in that course together, I know you've been working insanely hard. I mean, I think everyone in the group has been very
Yeah.
inspired by your work ethic because you're doing all the beyond practicing, you're creating click tracks, play along tracks, you're doing all these, you're still doing your projects on your YouTube page, on your Facebook page, all the duets thing that you're doing. So, and, taking care of a family. So that's
Well, I
pretty
appreciate
amazing.
that, man. But
Yeah.
I feel like everyone in the course, including you. I mean, everyone's like busy and finds really wonderful ways to be creative in this time. And I mean, I love this series that you've been putting together. I think it's brilliant. And the
Thank
happy hour thing, man, that is just the coolest bent on all of this. Is just I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I mean, I was
Congrats,
always
man.
drinking around this time, and I was like, I should just go put this out to the world while I'm drinking.
Yeah, with a little liquid courage, you can do anything.
Always helps.
That's
So,
right.
oh, Brandon Chance, dude, Boone, what's up? His nickname's, we went to grad school together. Everyone called him Boone. His name's Brandon. He's in the Navy band. He's asking, has Scott heard of the group Tubular, East Coast tuba rock cover band?
Yes. Yeah. Carol Yonch is one of the members there. And it's killer, absolutely killer band. They all sing.
Oh, wow.
And it's a tuba euphonium quartet with a drummer, and it's
sweet.
Absolutely killer. Yeah.
That's awesome.
One of these days, I'll get the courage to try to do a collaboration with them, but I haven't, I need more bookers for that. So.
Well, maybe by the end of this interview, first thing you'll do is email them. Got to put it out there.
Yeah, it's a killer group.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the topic here. Is you have a very successful. Are you the most famous tuba player on YouTube? Is there anyone else who has? I mean,
there's people that have been doing something on the internet a little longer than I have, but I don't know. I haven't really. I have a hard time saying yes. I am definitely the most famous tuba player, but I think the title I can claim is that I am the first one to try to do the kind of the higher end multi-track. The big step above the acapella kind of video, where there's lots of edits and cutting and high quality images and high quality audio and more elaborate arrangements with including, and I play piano in some of the videos. I play percussion in some of the videos, try to really bring it to the next level as opposed to just, I'm doing a duo or I'm doing a quartet in acapella.
Right.
It's just kind of, the next notch above. And I think I'm the first guy to really, really do that side of things. So.
Right. Yeah, no, I was really impressed when I was kind of doing my research. I went to that page and I was like, wow, the production value is really great on this. I loved the Bohemian Rhapsody version. That was great. That was the perfect screenshot to advertise this talk of you, 4 of you holding tubas and euphoniums.
What's funny is that I think it's about 2 or 3 weeks ago, someone commented on that video. They said it took them halfway through the video before they realized it was all the same person. I was like,
good.
Yeah, I guess I did a good job of making it look real. And I mean that particular setup, I remember we were. It was the summer of that big solar eclipse, and we were going on all these national park tours, and I was editing in the car the whole time and just trying to resize myself in different positions in order to make it look like it was further away, and I worked really hard on that, so I appreciate that you took a liking to it. Thanks, man.
So what was the inspiration behind what made you decide to create a YouTube page? And what were your expectations when you started?
So for 11 years, I was a founding member and helped manage a brass quintet called the Presidio Brass, and that was a big part of my focus for a huge chunk of my career. For a good third of my life, was really just kind of focused on that entity. And there came a point that it was very clear that to my family that I needed to get off the road. And so when that decision was made, I needed some sort of way to kind of promote myself. And I am not a big believer in the, selfie at the gig saying I'm humble, blessed to be here playing with, this studio, on this movie, or, with the Philharmonic or whatever it is, I try not to do that. And so I needed to find another outlet to kind of showcase my playing, let people know I was out there. I can still play the tuba, and I was available, and I was around, and just try to separate myself from being identified with that brass quintet, because that was so much of my identity. Just to kind of forge out on my own, and right. So I wanted to take some of the skills. I was looking at like my skill set, and tried to figure out what it is that I could use the skill set. I was the arranger for the group. I was pretty big part in the planning of all the recordings that we did, and I was always in the editing room, and so I was always helping out with the editors and the producers, and I had done some producing on my own of recordings. And I like to, pick the brains of the people that are around me. If I'm in a recording studio, I'm just curious what the recording engineer is doing and what mics are they using, and why are they choosing, some of these choices that they're making. Why are they making those decisions? And so just with that kind of knowledge, I was inspired also by Jim Nova, who is a trombone player with the Pittsburgh Symphony, and he's been doing all these wonderful overdubs of John Williams music, Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I figured out that in my childhood, because we watched it every day over the summer for many summers, I think I've seen A New Hope 500 times. So I'm a bit obsessed. And so when Jim was going through all of his overdubs, I was pretty inspired by that, and I wanted to kind of try, get into that a little bit, and I kind of felt like tuba, just because of the range of the instrument, it can tend to be muddy. I needed something else other than just an audio recording. I felt like it wasn't going to have the exposure that I needed to really kind of get my name out there and get my product out there, if I was just putting it up like on a SoundCloud, or that sort of thing. So I decided YouTube was the way to go, and it seemed like there was a market for that, because there weren't any other tuba players that I could see doing really high end work on that platform. So that's what I decided to do. I took an arrangement that I had done for Presidio Brass for the brass quintet, and I adapted it for tuba euphonium ensemble. It was a medley of tunes from the movie The Pirates of the Caribbean. And so I first started with a cappella, and I did the first minute of it on a cappella, and I realized very quickly that I wasn't really making a whole lot of music with it. I was just worried about missing notes and hoping that I wasn't going to miss notes over the course of a minute, and I wasn't able to do a full-fledged arrangement. I was really kind of limited to this particular time frame, and I didn't like the limitations. And back then, there were a lot of limitations on the audio side of things, so that the sound being captured was not very good. It's much better now. And so what I decided to do was try to learn a digital audio workstation, a DAW, and video editing. I didn't know anything about it going into it. I tried a little bit in GarageBand, and then I had some friends say, "Well, if you're doing that and you're on a Mac, why don't you just do Logic? It's pretty cheap, and the learning curve is not as bad as something like Pro Tools.
Right.
And then because of that, I learned Final Cut. I got a subscription to the website lynda.com, which does video tutorials. And
it's Linda, L-Y, right?
L-Y.
Yeah.
Lynda. Yeah. And I did a month of that, and I just learned from the ground up. It was over the summer. I was doing a funk band down at the San Diego Zoo. And so that was my afternoons. And so in the mornings, I was able to just kind of dive into these video tutorials. And then when I would get to the band at the zoo, there were a handful of people there that know a thing or two about video editing and about audio engineering. And so I was every time we were on a break, I was just picking people's brains. And then after the gig was over, I was taking them out to dinner and beers and, and doing all that I could to get them to divulge all of their secrets. So
awesome. So you did your research and you studied. Doesn't Logic Pro come with, when you buy Final Cut? Doesn't it come with Logic?
There's a bundle, an education bundle.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same price as a full-fledged version of Logic Pro. It's like $200. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculously cheap. Yeah, and then you can get Motion and you can get Final Cut. And it's a wonderful set. And and then you're not tied to Premiere, the Adobe Premiere, which is a subscription-based service. And I liked that model better. So and it all works seamlessly with my Mac. So that's what I ended up doing.
Awesome. Really quick, we got Evan Walsh saying Scott is the man. Yes, he is.
and okay, all right. If Evan Walsh is watching, I just bought that education bundle a month ago, and until then, I was using Evan Walsh's license for Final Cut Pro for the first 3 years. So I owe, and most of my video editing. In fact, he shot my first video, my Pirates of the Caribbean. So I pretty much owe everything to Evan Walsh.
Wow.
Was that enough?
Yeah, it's great. Good job, Evan. Okay. Good job, Evan. Way to support.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah. Also, Dave Gerhardt, what's up? He was my interview last week.
Yes, he was great.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. We go way, way back. He said if you're a student, lynda.com is usually free through the university library. So that's great. So any of you who are students or attending a college, it looks like you can access Lynda for free, or you can do what Scott did and get someone else's password and do it. I think that's how I actually have an account to Lynda through a friend's brother. I think I'm using his login. I joined when I was doing sketch and stuff when I was so I could learn how to edit videos and stuff like that. But anyway, so
it's like most people's Netflix accounts are
exactly. Just share it. If you got it, share it.
Sharing is caring.
Spread the wealth. So you had done like production. You knew you had like did you have a piano background, or had you studied arranging or orchestration in college, or is this all stuff that you picked up while you were in Presidio Brass?
The Presidio Brass was just it was a vehicle for me to kind of hone my skills. Before that, I had done piano for 5 years as a kid. And I kind of stuck with it a little bit here and there. I played like in church, or I played in the high school jazz band. So I had a little bit of a commercial side with some of that stuff. I did like a couple of arrangements for my high school band. I had done a little bit. And then when I went to USC, I actually I did a year where I played in the marching band. And Tony Fox was the arranger for the Trojan Marching Band. And he is an amazing writer, absolutely amazing. And so I was his librarian for that year that I was in the marching band, and I would just bring him charts, and he would analyze them and give me a couple of pointers and send me on my way.
Nice.
And then I took a jazz composition class with Shelley Bird at USC, which was
I bet that was great.
And I was a fish out of water. I mean, everyone was a jazz guy in there, and everyone was, had been in the programs for years. And I was this classical guy, played tuba, like what was I doing there? Kind of thing. Everyone's kind of looking at me, but I learned so much from that. And so then, Yeah, I mean, I think I had done 2 brass quintet arrangements by the time Presidio had started, and then we needed rep, and so I just, no one else was stepping up, and I said, I guess I'll try my hand at this, and so I kept pumping out all these, classical transcriptions and a couple of jazz tunes, and and just kind of honed my skills in that setting. It was really great.
Awesome. Mark Miller. Hey, Scott, what you drinking? He's drinking Booker's.
Mark.
He was supposed to
Cheers,
be winning.
man.
He was supposed to be winning the Tuba position at LA Phil today, and he would have if it happened, but it got postponed because of the pandemic. So he's celebrating anyway.
Yeah. I'm pre-celebrating my future win, right?
Yeah. And Phil Keen. Hey, Eddie and Scott.
Hey,
what's up,
Phil.
Thanks for watching. Appreciate
buddy.
it. Okay, so you started the YouTube page because you were going to leave Presidio Brass as a full-time member, and you needed some way to kind of represent yourself and have a creative outlet. You had all these skills. You put it up there. You put it onto YouTube. Was your goal to build a following, or was it just like, I need to express myself creatively, and this looks like this is what I can do?
Yeah, I didn't really have an end goal in mind. I saw a market and I kind of dived in. I didn't, I wasn't looking at the stars going, oh my gosh, I'm going to become this huge, I'm going to get this huge following. That was never really a plan. I mean, I liked the idea of expressing myself and utilizing all of these different skills that I had. And so that was really interesting to me. And I wanted to have a unique way to get in front of certain people, just so that they could get used to my playing and get to know my playing through a fun way. I know that there's at least a couple of pretty good gigs that I got because I sent someone a video. Someone's doing, someone was doing an orchestra was doing Jaws with the live to picture.
Yeah.
So I sent the tuba player. I said, "Oh, that's funny you say that. You sounded great on this interview you did on TV playing the Jaws tuba solo. This is a video that I did." And a month later, I was playing with the orchestra. So, I mean, that wasn't my intention at all. But it's just kind of a happy, outgrowth of doing these. And I do get some opportunities to speak. I've probably done 5 or 6 different master classes to universities across the United States so far. Just the last 2 weeks, talking about all this stuff. So it's, I am not the tuba player in the Chicago Symphony. I am not some international soloist, but this is a way to kind of get my face out there and have kind of a unique brand,
right,
that people can identify with, and then give me, a chance to be invited to schools or to conferences and that sort of thing. So, I want to get to that. I want to, maybe put a little flag in that and get back to into what it's brought you. But then, so once you started getting followers or subscribers, it gets to 1,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers. Did you then have the intention of growing it, or has this been completely organic? It's been, what I've noticed about YouTube is that it's all about consistency. It's about, you can't assume that, well, this is such a great project, it's bound to go viral, and that's going to be my one project that's going to go viral. I mean, I've gone down that path too many times. I get really excited about a project. Bohemian Rhapsody. I was so thrilled with that project.
Yeah.
I loved every second of making that video, and I worked so hard on it. And then it went okay, I mean, it got a bit of a following, and some people enjoyed it. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
My first video, here's part of the problem, is that my very first video, which I was learning so much at that time, I made a lot of mistakes, but that very first video got picked up by what is it? Classic FM is that the Facebook page?
I think so.
And they shared the video, and it got a couple 100,000 views or something along those lines. Really, really quickly. So. I should say on the Facebook page, it didn't really translate a whole lot to the YouTube side of things. Those two are very, very different animals. How to market to Facebook versus YouTube. There is very little crossover from what I have found between the two. It's if you upload or you post a YouTube link, it's usually like 1 to 10, the number of people who actually will watch a Facebook video that's embedded into Facebook versus actually go to a link to YouTube and watch your YouTube video. I just posted actually that band down at the San Diego Zoo is kind of doing this offshoot, its own thing. It's adding a guitar player and a keyboard player. It's called Boomf Brass Band with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Boom! All right, it's great. And I just posted a promo video that we just released an album. Perfect time to release an album.
Yeah, right. A lot of time to
our
listen.
Lots
of time.
Our CD release party is, I'm sure, 18 months away.
Yeah.
So
on Zoom, your Zoom release party.
But so people were throwing up links to the YouTube, and I was like, I think we need to embed this into Facebook, and so I embedded the video about a few days after everyone else had shared the YouTube link. And it was easily 10 times the amount, even after a few days, of the number of people that actually had gone to YouTube versus had watched that Facebook page or that Facebook video. So, what I have learned is to not post YouTube links. It does not work on Facebook.
Okay.
I embed videos onto Facebook. I embed videos onto, IG Live and that sort of thing, as opposed to trying to drive traffic to my YouTube page. Yeah, it's just they're just different markets, and you have to, you have to cater to those different markets, and there's going to be different demographics. I mean, Instagram skews way younger, than. And Facebook is much older, and YouTube's kind of in the middle, It's fascinating looking at the demographics. I'm like, oh, wow, I have all these people that are, in their late 20s and early 30s. And then I realized that actually a lot of high schoolers will register their YouTube accounts as over 18. Oh. Just so that they aren't, limited by what videos they watch on YouTube. And smart. All that demographic information is it's a little
skewed.
It's skewed. It's not worthless, but it's skewed. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at that. There's a lot of high schoolers that are watching my videos, but it's not really reflected in the numbers. So
it's also that extra click to get, like, it's almost, I don't know why in our brains it's like that's too much work, that like to click to go over to YouTube. It's almost, like newspapers having a space above the fold and below the fold. Yeah. It's like people aren't going to open the full newspaper, and they're not. You have like a, orders of magnitude greater chance of having something seen in a newspaper if it's above the fold as opposed to below the fold. Same thing. Absolutely. It's like I don't want to click. I have to click.
Well, and they probably they have I'm sure they have figured out exactly how many words they need above the fold in order to just to nudge people just a little bit so that so they want to. I'm sure someone has figured all that out. You're watching a video on Facebook and it's playing, and it is just one click, but that's way more appealing than whatever thumbnail they attached, to the video, on YouTube. So, it's just that much more enticing, and when you have a close, the closed caption, the subtitles, if you have your, your text going, your copy going, people are going to click on that a lot faster, and much more frequently than if you don't have all those features going. So,
Cool. So for you, those of you just tuning in, I'm speaking with Scott Sutherland. He is a tuba player in Southern California. founding member of Presidio Brass, plays all over Southern California, and he has a YouTube subscribership of over around 12,500 subscribers. So that's what we're talking about today. So this question popped up yesterday when I posted about this. Someone mentioned that you could just buy followers if you want to. So why don't we talk about that a bit? The benefit or the downfall or of just buying people to subscribe.
So I had a sponsorship, and when we were first negotiating the deal, part of the money for the sponsorship was supposed to go towards promoting the video through buying views. That was actually something that was suggested by this company, and so I had never thought of it. I was like, all right. I mean, I guess I'll try and see if it works out. It totally bombed. So I tried several different companies, and I just wanted to see what would happen. Largely, they're all bots. It's all just software. And YouTube flagged it every time. It could tell what was a bot and what wasn't. Largely, the views are coming from countries, that usually use these. A lot of them are from Indonesia or, and such, because a lot of these people are using services through like Fiverr and such. Right. And there's a big contingent of users or, services, through like Indonesia and some of those, those countries in Asia. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, YouTube is flagging that and saying, wait a minute, 90% of your views are coming from the United States. And all of a sudden you're getting 10,000 views from these 3 Asian countries. And it flags that and just takes all those views off. Wow. The other thing, and this is probably the biggest thing, is the fact that there's no interaction. YouTube doesn't value views. What it values is watch time. It values likes, even dislikes. It doesn't matter, just as long as there's an interaction of some sort. And comments. The comments are the biggest one, but subscribers, comments, and then likes and dislikes. This is what YouTube.
Engagement.
It's engagement. Well, because
and it keeps them watching to get to the ad if you have like a mid-roll ad or something.
You can keep going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So YouTube values if you watch a video all the way to the end, or you just watch a video to a certain extent and then click on another video. There's a through. You are continuing viewing on their page, on YouTube's page, on their website. As long as you're continuing to view, then your video will be promoted. If you are the last video that person watched in their quote unquote session and they clicked out of YouTube at that point, YouTube absolutely knows this, then your video will be dropped. And so this is part of the problem with links from Facebook, is that you click on that link to Facebook, you watch that video, even if you do watch that video and then you come right back to Facebook, it's not gonna help that video YouTube, because
it counts it as the first and last video of that session.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
If you're the first video and in a long succession of videos, then it's then YouTube will promote your video, and and especially if that person subscribes, if they like, they dislike, because all of this is information that YouTube is going to use for ad revenue,
right?
For targeted ads, and targeted ads is what YouTube makes the most money off of. So,
so it's almost a bad thing to put a link then on your Facebook.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't do it. So, So this is all. Yeah, this is all stuff that you learn just because you're like, why didn't this video do anything?
Right? There's so many weird things, like having a catchy headline, or having it link the thumbnail. Yeah, having a contrasting thumbnail that draws attention, having it link to another one of your videos, and vice versa. I was just watching a thing on it today. I was like, wow, there's a game to this. There's a definite game.
The words you use in the title are
one word can make or break
Absolutely. And where it is in the title. Is it the first word in the title? Is it the last word in the title? What tags you use? What is in your description?
Yeah.
And how related are all those words? Oh my gosh.
It seems like
hours and hours.
It seems like for like educational things, it seems like the most popular thing to do is like a number, like blank things you can do to improve this. Like that apparently, like if you do that instead of like say I said 5 things you can do to improve your snare drum roll versus how to play a good snare drum roll, like the 5 things you could do would just get just totally boosted up over the same exact video, just different title, very slight variance in the title, and that makes all the difference, it looks like.
It's we make fun of clickbait. Mm-hmm. But there's a reason why clickbait is out there. It's because people actually click on it. Yeah. And we can learn a thing or two about how they construct those titles because they've put a lot of research into this. I mean, you're exactly right.
Interesting.
The top 3 ways to improve your buzz roll is going to get way more hits than perfect buzz roll, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Maybe I should I'll experiment with that. So,
oh shoot, we just gave away all the secrets.
We just gave it all away.
Now John Santos is gonna.
He's gonna do like a drumming and penmanship combo that the world has never seen. It's gonna open.
He's gonna do a snare drum roll with his finest pens. And,
it's gonna open up. It's gonna open up some portal to the lizard world, and the lizard people are gonna come and roll. It's gonna be the end of the world. 20%. Yeah, John will be responsible for the end of the world when that portal opens. Don't do it, John.
Don't.
Is it Jaime Morales or Jamie Morales?
Jaime.
Jaime. He says.
School with Jaime.
He says, "Same old Scott, ball of energy."
Yeah. What was my nickname in the Energizer? I think it was.
Oh yeah, in our group, your superhero is the Energizer. It's true.
Yeah, Jaime's a great trumpet player, an incredible drummer.
Oh, nice. Multi-talented.
And now he owns a music production company and is just killing it. Yeah. He's great.
Very awesome. Cool. So then while we're on the topic of getting views and engagement, what is monetization like when you, like, what do you, like, does this make you money directly, indirectly, just having from this YouTube page? Like what has it brought to you in terms of career success or financial stability in any way?
Nothing. Very little. Wait, not nothing. Very little.
From YouTube itself, like the videos themselves have not made you
the ad revenue. No one is going to get rich off that unless you're T Swift.
Right.
If you're getting millions, billions of views, yes, there's some significant money generated there, except that probably if you're getting millions and millions of views, you are probably also making a whole lot of money elsewhere. And, this is a very small portion of your overall portfolio. But no one is really, really getting rich off of views. If you're owning all of your own content, all of us music folks that are doing covers are making exceptionally small amounts of money on these videos because it's all revenue sharing. So YouTube, I get a question about copyright a lot. And so YouTube has blanket license agreements with most of the major publishers. So you upload a video and 90% of the time, probably, the video is flagged and they say, sure, you can have it up, but you're going to get this very, very small piece of the pie. And most of the money is going to YouTube and going to the original content copyright holder. So, I've gotten that question. Phil Keen just asked that question of me, all this Star Wars stuff that you're doing,
right.
Do you ever run into problems? I've never run into problems with any of that. The biggest problem I ran into was I did a video which I thought was just pat myself. I thought it was brilliant. Most of my stuff I feel like is a little formulaic nowadays, but every once in a while I think I come up with a pretty cool idea. And this was, do you know Three Amigos?
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah,
Martin,
Steve Martin.
Martin
Yeah.
Gilbert, and Chevy Chase. Yeah. Okay. So this is a family favorite of ours. I took the scene when Carmen and Diego go into the church to watch the original film. You know, when they first find out about the Three Amigos, they go into a church and they're watching a silent movie. And so I took that film, and it's all accompanied by a theater organ. And so I took that video and I took it off the DVD. And every time the movie cut to a shot of Carmen or Diego or the audience or whatever, I would put myself in that video. But otherwise, I was using the footage from the actual movie.
Okay.
And I transcribed the organ part and played it all on tubas. And I mean, just that movie is so near and dear to my heart.
Right.
And so I was giddy the entire time I was putting that thing together. And then when
like, this is my moment. This is going to boost me into stardom on YouTube. YouTube stardom.
I'm not sure.
I am the next PewDiePie from this video.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have delusions of grandeur there. But I just loved it for myself, just because I loved that movie so much, you know.
Right.
And so even I was a little nervous putting all the audio together and then syncing up with the video, and when it actually worked, I was so excited, you know. And then I put it up there, and immediately Paramount flags it, and they say, we're going to keep all revenue from this thing. You're not going to see a single cent.
Wow.
And but they kept it up, which I appreciated, because I worked pretty hard on that video.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
they didn't take it down. That's good. They
didn't take it down. And I was a little worried that they were going to take it down. I've never had a video taken down. One time I did a video, Facebook muted a section of a video one time. But you know, that's it. Everything else has been totally fine.
Okay. So it hasn't really brought you any direct income,
no money really to speak of.
Indirectly, how has it helped your career?
I mean, I do have a Patreon page, and that has helped. People have been very generous, just supporting me through there. I sell my arrangements through musicnotes.com, which again has these blanket license agreements with most of the major publishers, so they're able to get approval very, very quickly. Usually it's just, you know, they just, it's all in house. They know which tunes that they can automatically approve. So I just submitted them The Mandalorian and my Beetlejuice, and I'm expecting that to probably show up on their site within the next few days. So yeah, so that brings in a little income. And then actually what's been the best thing is all these invitations to do virtual master classes at schools, and to be invited to conferences, and to talk about all this stuff. I did a video, again, Star Wars. There's a very famous tuba solo in Star Wars for the character of Jabba the Hutt. And it's this epic tuba solo, and it's near and dear to my heart. Just because it's my instrument, you know, and it's Star Wars. So so I created a video of me accompanying myself, you know, and put it up on YouTube. And then what I did was I created a version of that was without the solo part. And then with my in-ears, I have a click track, and I can play live. I can play a version of that video with the video playing in the background, and then me playing the solo part.
Oh, nice.
And so, you know, maybe down the line I can kind of create a show, you know, a recital, you know, sorts that I could do, you know, at conferences or schools or whatever, where I'm accompanying myself on these videos, you know, and I'm performing all the solo parts. You know, Bohemian Rhapsody would be probably a pretty easy one to do all that. So, I've been invited to do full concerts with just my arrangements, which is really cool, you know.
So it's kind of like these YouTube videos that you've made. They're kind of a creative outlet, but they were also just kind of advertising a product, which is you and your arrangements, your tuba playing, you know, and so people. That's what was, I guess, the indirect outcome is people saw those, are like, we want this guy, we'll pay you money to come and give this clinic, or we want to buy your arrangements, or, oh, have you heard of this guy? We need a tuba player, hire him to play in the LA Phil or San Diego Symphony or wherever.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so that's the main way it's helped you. This
Absolutely.
following,
Yeah.
this having this popular page. But I mean
Yeah.
that's good. I mean that's a career right there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been a lot of fun. It's a wonderful outlet for me just to kind of dive into some of the music that I've always loved. I mean, do video games. My kids are crazy into Zelda, Mario, anything Nintendo, and so
mhm.
I'm hearing them playing, and sometimes I'm playing, and hearing this music over. I'm like, I'll do that too.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The kids get into it.
Very cool. Okay, so before we get to a couple questions here, what advice do you have for anyone who obviously is finding a lot of time on their hands? They want to do a creative project and they want to put some videos on YouTube. What's some practical advice you can get them to start out so so they can kind of avoid some common mistakes?
Well, the first thing I would do is to kind of see what you can do on the acapella app.
Okay.
It's a wonderful way to just kind of get an idea of what this is like. You will realize very quickly that that time and intonation is really important.
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation. There was a thread on a trombone pedagogy site on our page on Facebook, and Alex Isles, like, god of the trombone, studio superstar. He was talking about how every time he's done any kind of overdub, he's been really frustrated with his time and his intonation. I'm like, you're Alex Isles. You're not supposed to have these problems. And yeah, I understand that I have these problems, but you're not supposed to have these problems. And so it's kind of nice to hear that everyone has these problems, but it's in varying degrees. And so you'll realize very quickly, whether or not you can kind of, keep up with, those skills and promote those skills enough to really put something together that people will want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I find that generally speaking, it depends on your audience, who you're trying to market to. But you need to kind of find out what people are going to, if what you're looking for is a following, you're going to need to find out what people want to hear. And you're going to need to find out what that market is.
Actually, I found out a tip about this. Actually, if you go, apparently this is like a very easy thing to do. Just like go on YouTube, type in tuba or how to play tuba, and it'll autocomplete from Google, and those are the most common searches. And so, like that kind of tells you where the need is.
And there's websites that will tell you what are the most popular search terms are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you put in tuba cover.
Yeah.
Music video, whatever, and it will tell you what videos were linked to just those keywords, Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you're going to need to find out whether or not, I think that is an important exercise, because then you will find out what your expectations could possibly be for this endeavor. Mm-hmm. If what you're choosing to do is, nothing but avant-garde tuba music, you're going to know that there's not a huge market. The market that is there are a bunch of people who are very enthusiastic about avant-garde tuba music. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to get the 80,000 views on your video. It's just not going to happen. So
I bet the most common search is what is up with avant-garde tuba music is probably the autocomplete.
That's right.
Why does this exist?
Yeah, it's just like, what's up with airline food? So yeah, it's so you just maybe temper your expectations a little bit, or if what you're really gunning for is something that is something that's possibly going to be very popular, then you have to consider, well, what is your competition? What are they doing? What does it look like? Start researching what other people are doing. And hopefully what you can try to find is a portion of the market that is not covered. try to find something that people are not doing, and because that's what I did. I started out and I looked and I didn't see someone doing like a Piano Guys or a Lindsey Sterling type video on Tuba. I just wasn't seeing that. And I'm like, okay, there we go. There it is. That's what I'm going to do. And these are the people that I'm watching going, oh gosh, how did they do that? Without spending $20,000 in equipment, because I don't have that. I have a $300 DSLR, and I shot most of my videos in the beginning on my iPhone.
Right.
I bought a $300 microphone on Reverb, but initially I had a terrible microphone. My very first video was a terrible microphone, and I really wish I could re-record it. But
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, as over 500,000 views now, so it's like I'm not going to take it down. I would be insane to do that. But I kind of wish it didn't exist and I could redo it. But
okay. So to recap, find what the market is, what you're going to put out there. Easy to do. Quick search will show you what the demand is. Exactly. Just get you can definitely shoot on if you have an iPhone 11 or iPhone 10, or that's going to be plenty good in terms of video quality. It's going to look great.
Exactly.
You can get
plenty of light.
Plenty of light. Buy an $80 light ring. Get a mic. I have a Shure SM57 on Amazon. You can get the Shure. You can get a very long XLR cable and a mic stand for I think $150 all in. And then get a friend's. If you have any friends in college, get their login to Lynda. Spend $200 on Final Cut Pro. All that. If you're a Mac user, all that stuff is fairly intuitive. You can pick these things up pretty quickly. Like I learned how to use iMovie really quickly when I was editing stuff in my sketch team, and I know Final Cut is just kind of like that on steroids with the capabilities. Exactly. So it's very user friendly. And then just get started. Like don't wait till you have the perfect product. Don't wait till you have the $5,000 microphone. Get it out there. Just get the stuff
it's the idea of the MVP, the minimally viable product. And just ship, and then get it out there, and then learn on the next one. I put that first Pirates video, and then 3 weeks later I did a new one. I had a completely different microphone at that point, and I had dry ice coming out of my bell. It was this is Halloween. Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But and I dressed up in a Jack Skellington outfit for that.
Nice.
I just tried something different.
Yeah.
And it sort of worked, and then I tried something else for the next one, and some of it kind of bombed, and some of it worked. And I finally tried a green screen for the first time on a. And that was horrendous, because if I didn't kind of cut off some of the green, it was being reflected into the bell of my silver instrument.
Oh.
And then you can see that
disappear.
You can actually see that in the Bohemian Rhapsody. You can see just portions of my bell are just gone. and so I had to use a particular background. I had to dress up in a particular way to try to hide that as much as possible. I just learned, and it's not like I didn't do the project because it was a little substandard.
Right.
But man, these little 12-year-olds get on YouTube and say, "Oh, shoddy green screen work."
Right. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm learning. Give me a break.
I'm learning here, and I'm pretty sure you're not doing it. So
yeah, I wasn't born with an iPhone in my hands.
Exactly.
Like you guys. It's like intuitive to them. They just like know it out of the womb. Let's see. Totally. My wife, Diana, says fact or fiction. She's a flute player. It takes the same amount of air to play flute as it does to play tuba.
That's what I've heard.
That's what she loves to say that to all her beginning students. She's like, "Do you know it takes as much air to play this as it does to play the tuba?" Like that's one of her.
But here's the problem: is that the size of the hole, the aperture that you're creating, is so small. Your air is moving so freakishly fast. I can't play just because I have the lungs to play tuba. I can't play flute. I tried that at UCLA. I tried to get my teaching credential. I got part way, and I tried to do flute, and everyone was making fun of me in woodwind tech class because
like buzzing into it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was comedic. It
just
terrible.
seems like most of the air is not going into the instrument for the flute. Like most of it seems like most of it's like going this way, and some of it's going to, I don't know, but it takes a lot. Dave Gerhardt says flute takes more, according to my wife, because his wife is also a flute player.
Okay. My understanding is that bass trombone actually has the highest flow rate. I think.
Okay.
Look, I don't know. I just play oompas.
Who knows?
Yeah. I'm just an oompa guy.
Jaime says, thanks, guys. Great conversation. Thanks, Jaime. Thanks for the feedback.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Great to hear from you.
Glenn Leinert. So when are you going to do a cover of the main title from The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Oh, my gosh. That's Bernard Herrmann, right? Oh, my gosh. Okay, so I have a couple of Herman scores that I want to do first. The main title, the driving theme from Psycho is definitely on the list. I want to do Taxi Driver, and I have a brass quintet arrangement of North by Northwest that was never played, that I'm dying to do. Oh my gosh, he might be my favorite composer. Actually, what I was thinking, what is A Journey to the Center of the Earth is the one where like the first minute of the overture is basically note for note the Batman theme from Danny Elfman.
Oh, really?
And so I was thinking about doing like a mashup of those two.
That'd be funny. You should.
Yeah, but Day the Earth Stood Still is an incredible score, and I'm hoping it's Bernard Herrmann. I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, all of that, man. That the Philharmonic, when they did that. When they went to Todd A.O. and did that with Solonen, that whole recording of Bernard Herrmann, that is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Oh,
It's
nice.
incredible.
I need to listen to that.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
Very cool. Dave Gerhardt posted a link about this kid named Ryan Kaji. The 8-year-old behind YouTube channels Ryan's World remained the video platform's highest earner for a second year, raking in $26 million in 2019.
Okay. All right. Once you get to a certain point, it's okay. Yeah. This is look. When I say no one, I mean 99.9876% of people are not making any money on views. But yes,
right.
There are the few people that are actually absolutely raking it in. But, I wonder, how many subscribers does that person have? He probably has millions upon millions of subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he probably also is owning all of his own content. He's not doing a lot of covers. Most of his income is probably not covers. He's probably owning a lot of his content.
Yeah.
And they're probably longer videos. So that's how you.
Quit whatever career plan you had and just make videos. Just figure out the game of YouTube and make videos so you can make $26 million a year.
Prep. Yeah.
Yeah. Quit it all. And when you become a big success, if your inspiration for that success was this interview, just send us a check.
Just a check.
10%. I'll take 10% of 26 million.
I'll take 2% of your 10%, and I'll live very happily.
Yeah. Oh, man. Glenn says yes, Bernard Herrmann. Yeah. And Jaime says great advice. Thanks again. Dave Gerhardt emphasized get started. Yes, that was his big advice. That's the advice that I think that's the biggest hurdle everyone has at the start of anything is to actually get started. That's, I think,
absolutely.
I think if that wasn't in the way, the trajectory of human evolution would be much further along than it is now. Like all the best things would exist if people just got started. I bet there's some of the world's best ideas that are just laying dormant because someone has not gotten started on it.
Well, it's because they developed it and it was at 80%, and they didn't ship. Right. They didn't get it out there because it was only at 80%, and they thought 80% wasn't good enough. And that takes a little courage to just go, I'm just going to put this out in the world. I mean, we understood this in our audition course. How long did it take before we were finally like able to have the comfort level to share videos of ourselves playing orchestral excerpts?
Yeah, it's still
it took weeks. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
I don't like
and so I mean it takes a while to get used to. I was horribly nervous. I did a whole talk in Washington D.C. About all of this stuff for an Army conference, and it was 9 a.m. and it was live streamed to YouTube, and I didn't get an instrument to play for days. I didn't come out to the conference with an instrument.
Wow.
I was handed an instrument seconds before we went on, and I didn't have any time to warm up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I guess this is just going to happen. And,
Wow.
If I had my choice, those would not have been the conditions. But, sometimes you just have to go with it. And I credit the quintet for giving me even an ounce of courage to just step out on stage and just go, look, this is what it's going to be right now. It's not going to be perfect. And guess what? I'm still going to be alive at the end of all this, and the world is not going to end.
And no one, or 99% of the people, do not know that is your 80%. They think it's great.
Right.
Exactly. Their perception is way slower than yours.
Way slow. You're hearing things, you're seeing things that no one is catching up on, or 99%. And it's only
they're seeing it for the first time, and they're not going to catch on to most of that stuff. It's going to kind of wash over.
The 1% that is catching on, those are the people that are making $24 million on YouTube a year. So we don't like them anyways.
Yeah,
so.
They're jerks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, Scott, where can people find you? Plug your website, your YouTube page, all of that.
Pretty much anything that says Scott Sutherland Music.
And that's
I'm not
with
on Twitter.
a U, S-U-T-H.
Yeah, don't put an O in there. You put an O in there, we're just not going to talk anymore. Okay, all right. It's S-U-T-H, just like Kiefer. All right, just like Donald. Okay. I met up with Kiefer one time. We were at LAX, and I stalked him, and I got a picture with him, and I just titled it "The Sutherlands." I loved it.
Are you distantly related at all?
No,
nothing.
I would assume at some point.
At some point,
30 generations ago, maybe.
Right,
but
right.
I'm not hitting him up at
at Christmas.
cousin parties or anything.
Yeah.
So Scott Sutherland Music on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course on YouTube, and then ScottSutherlandMusic.com. So
great. Everyone check out his website. Go follow him. Send me a friend request. I will accept. And tune in next week. I don't know who I'm going to have yet, but it's going to be a wonderful interview just like this one. Scott, thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you on Monday, I think.
All right, sounds
online.
great.
All right, man. See ya.
See ya. Bye.